In this week's English lesson, I am going to explain 10 techniques that will finally help you speak English more fluently. Are you ready? Well then, I'm teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. Technique number 1. Yes, listening. Now you might be saying to yourself, Tiffany, listening, how is this a fluency technique? Well, let me explain something. First and foremost, what is listening? You see, listening involves actively engaging with spoken English to understand and interpret meaning. Let me break it down even more for you. In order to speak English fluently, you must know how to listen. Point number 1, when you listen, you improve your comprehension. And comprehension is necessary in order for you to be able to speak fluently. Let me explain more. Listening practice actually helps improve understanding of spoken language, accents, and colloquial expressions. Think about a child. Children, when they come out of the womb, a baby cannot speak. A baby is listening over and over to its mother, to its father, to its siblings, to people around the baby. It's improving its listening skills. It's improving its comprehension skills. And then all of a sudden, one day, that baby starts to speak. This is why listening is so important. If you desire to speak English fluently, you must practice listening. The other thing that is important about listening is it will expand your vocabulary. You see, regular listening exposes learners like you, English learners, to new words and phrases. Here's the key: in context, enhancing their vocabulary. Let me explain it like this. You've probably learned a ton of vocabulary words. But you've also probably been in this situation where you used a vocabulary word and maybe your English teacher, or maybe you have a friend that's American or speaks English fluently, and that friend or teacher said, oh, we don't use that word anymore. Maybe you felt frustrated. I memorized the word I learned from the book. But you see, when you listen to native English speakers having conversations, when you listen to the actors that are in a movie or a television drama, you can know for sure that the words and expressions they're using are being used currently in real life. So what's going to happen? Naturally, your vocabulary will expand. Vocabulary that you can use in real life when you speak English fluently. You got it, right? The other important point about this technique is pronunciation and intonation development. The more you listen, the more your pronunciation will improve. You see, listening to native speakers helps English learners imitate correct pronunciation and intonation patterns, leading to clearer communication. This is absolutely true. You know that I can speak Korean, or if not, yes, I do speak Korean. If you didn't know that, I do speak Korean. And I remember when I was first learning Korean, I would listen to the news. I would listen to podcasts. I would watch Korean dramas. I didn't even know what they were talking about. I was a beginner. But what happened was, over time, the fact that I was listening to so many Koreans speaking Korean, when I started to speak Korean, my pronunciation was amazing. Even to this day, when I call someone on the phone, if I'm calling maybe a Korean restaurant and I start speaking in Korean, when I get to the restaurant, they are in shock. They say, "We thought you were Korean." Why? Because my listening skills were so good, I was able to imitate Koreans when I was studying. So the first technique for you to speak English fluently that you must understand and follow is listening. The more you listen, the more you will improve. You got it? I love it. All right, let's keep going. The second technique that is so important for you to understand in order to speak fluently is speaking practice. Speaking practice, yes. Speaking practice involves, though, actively participating in conversations and expressing thoughts and ideas in English. This is very important. Many times you're learning new things, new words, new expressions. You're putting a lot in, but you don't get a lot of opportunities to take what's inside and pull it out to use in real conversations. But the only way for you to be fluent is for you to practice what you are learning. Practice using the words, practice using the patterns. That's how you improve your English fluency. Let me explain this a little bit more to help you understand why this technique is so important. First, it increases your confidence. You see, regular speaking practice boosts learners' confidence in expressing themselves in English. That's right. Anyone learning anything, but you as an English learner, the more you practice, the more your confidence will improve. It's so interesting. I was speaking to some of the students in my academy. If you would like to be my student, hey, all you got to do is hit the link right in the description. Go to dailyenglish.lessons.com. And I was speaking to some of my students and I was telling them, hey guys, in the beginning, you're going to feel nervous. You're going to feel shy when you're speaking in English. But I said, here's what I want you to do. Find a partner and practice with your partner. Now, in my academy, our family, there are literally thousands of students, so you can find a partner easily. But even if you're not a part of our family or you don't want to be a part of our family, that came out fast. You can still find a partner online, but speak to that partner and possibly do a video call with them. It's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking in the beginning. You're going to feel shy, but it's going to help you gain confidence in your own abilities. And that confidence will result in you being able to speak more fluently over time. Another point to remember with this technique: enhanced oral communication skills. Speaking practice improves fluency, coherence, and effectiveness in spoken English. Let me explain this. The more you practice, the better you'll become. That's just a general rule. As you practice speaking, something is going to happen within your brain. You're going to be watching people's responses to your words, and their responses are going to let you know if they understand or if they don't understand, which will affect your communication skills. Okay, when I said this, they understood that. So next time I'll organize my ideas in this way as well. Oh, they didn't understand when I said this, so let me tweak it next time. The more you practice, the more you speak, the better your communication skills will get. Again, affecting your English fluency. And finally, for this technique, cultural awareness and adaptability. Engaging in conversations exposes learners to different cultural perspectives and communication styles. I love this. Let me explain how amazing this is. So again, in our family, we have students and English learners from all around the world. Ghana, Japan, Haiti. We have Brazilians. So many different countries are represented in our family. And I have heard from so many of our family members, teacher, I love having conversations with our family members because not only do we improve our English, we start to understand each other more. So what happens is when they go and speak to a native English speaker, after having spoken to each other, suddenly there's this understanding of, hey, we're human beings and we might have differences, but we also have lots of similarities. That actually affects you. It affects them when they go to speak to a native English speaker. Now they're not as nervous. Why? Because they realize we're just human beings. We have different cultures and different ideas, but I can have a conversation with this person. Why? Because I've already spoken to someone from Brazil, from Mexico, from all of these different countries, and I realize that human beings, we're all the same. It literally helps with cultural awareness and confidence. speaking about this technique of practicing what you are learning. Speaking practice will truly help you speak English more fluently. Don't be nervous. Don't be shy. Get through those emotions and try. Technique number 2, speaking practice. And this will lead you to technique number 3, vocabulary acquisition. Something that I know you have thought about. Getting more vocabulary words, knowing more vocabulary words. Vocabulary acquisition, a new word for you, focuses on learning and expanding one's repertoire. That's actually, I think, a French word of words and expressions. In other words, the third technique is to learn more and more and more vocabulary words. No matter how long you've been studying English, no matter where you live, even Americans, we are still learning new words each and every moment. Why? We're watching television, we're having conversations, we're learning things from the younger generation or from the older generation or from books. We are all constantly learning. So you as an English learner must understand the importance of this technique. Acquiring more vocabulary words. Let me explain this a little bit more. The first important point is word exposure. You see, regular reading, listening, and engaging with English materials exposes learners to new vocabulary. When you read a lot, watch a lot, listen to different conversations, your vocabulary will naturally improve, but you must expose yourself to new things in English. This is how your English fluency will improve. When I was studying Korean, I was trying to listen to as much as possible. I was trying to be around as many individuals as possible so that I could learn new vocabulary words that were used in real life. And that's what helped me improve my fluency. The next thing that is important is contextual understanding. Basically, understanding how to use things in context. Learning words in context actually helps learners, will help you grasp the meaning of the words and how to use them more effectively. Remember earlier I mentioned that there is this habit of learning words from books, memorizing vocabulary words from books like dictionaries or vocabulary books. Listen, I did the same thing when I was studying Korean. But there comes a point in time where you have to actually learn words from real life. If you want to go to the upper intermediate and advanced level and speak English fluently, you have to start paying attention to how the words are used in context, in real conversations, as you're watching movies, as you're watching television dramas. Wait a minute, they used this word. Rewind it. This is the context in which they used that word. This is how you learn more words in context so that you'll be able to use them later on and speak English with fluency. And also, it takes active practice. This is something I have taught so many times on this channel and to you as an English learner. If it's your first time hearing it, trust me, I've taught many different lessons and you'll find them on my YouTube channel. Using new words in speaking and writing activities reinforces vocabulary acquisition. I remember one time specifically when I was learning Korean, I had to memorize a lot of vocabulary words for a test. I got up early in the morning around 4 a.m. because I had to memorize about 100 words. And I was reading them, memorizing the definition, going back and forth. And I was remembering the words, but I got a little frustrated because I knew that after the test, I was going to forget the words. Why? Because if you don't use the words in real life, you will forget them. So again, as you're trying to acquire new vocabulary words, you must remember the importance of active practice. You must put the words into practice. Use them to describe your life. Use them to describe someone you know. As you use the words, it will be easier for you as time goes on to use them in real conversations. So again, technique number 3, vocabulary acquisition. You have